All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Back Check Podcast. I'm here with Cam once again, and Cam is currently in his cottage in Massachusetts, and I'm currently here in New Jersey at home. Playoffs are about to begin finally, and it was quickly unprecedented. The draws came out very quickly, and the tournament is all set to go starting tomorrow with the Bruins and the Capitals. However, we're going to do our picks probably within almost 3 hours before midnight Eastern time, and let's go first things first. We're going to go with our picks, and we're only going to do the first round. All right. As each round is done, we'll make a new video to save time and cut short. So we're going to start with the first round, and we're going to give our predictions, and we're going to give our number of games we think it's going to take. So we're going to start off with not the Bruins and the Capitals, because that's going to get very controversial. Let's start off with the Penguins and the Islanders. The first game. That's not the first game. Second game on Sunday. Penguins, Isles, Cam. What is your prediction for that series?
I'm actually really excited for this series, Jay, because when you look at these two teams and their history the past couple of years, I forget how the order was, but I know Pittsburgh and the Islanders, they both swept each other out of the playoffs. And Pittsburgh, a team that's been dreaded with injuries and such, guys are starting to get healthy, and I think they've definitely got the experience. Crosby, Malkin, Letang, those guys are winners. But if we have to and then you look at the Islanders, they're a defensive powerhouse. I know they've been struggling since the deadline, but I do like the physicality of that group. I do like their coaching.
Yeah,
but I think it's going to be a really interesting series. And do you want to talk about offense, defense, goaltending, and coaching, and let's see where the advantages are on each side?
Yeah, I think what would also be good is we give our possible starting lineup. So definitely the most powerful lineup that Pittsburgh's going to have. They're obviously going to have their veterans in the front, so don't expect Crosby. So always expect Crosby to be at line number one for sure. Probably Malkin will be at center number two. I'd probably put Rust on right wing. Let's put Gensel on left wing in there. And the defensive pair, it's been no other better than Chris Letang and Brian Dumoulin. That's clearly been the best defensive pair all year. John Marino could also make a present start there. Don't ever unexpect him. He's going to be an American prodigy. Lots to see from him. And probably the goaltender is going to be, I would say, probably Tristan Jarry. Casey DeSmith can make a fight for it. However, I think both of them have done very well. But I think Tristan Jarry gets the nod for game one.
Yeah, I bet Jarry gets the game one start there. Also, Cody Cece's been pretty underrated this year too, but definitely Letang and Dumoulin will get heavy minutes in that series. For the Islanders, I'm not sure how Barry Trotz, he likes to rearrange the lines. It definitely hurts not having Anders Lee, but you can expect Adam Pelech and probably Ryan Pollock to be the starting defense. And definitely if Varlamov is healthy, which I haven't heard anything, that I know he was a little banged up. If Varlamov is healthy, he'll be ready for game one for sure. If not, I think Sorokin will be a fine choice in that. I expect Matt Barzal to center. You could definitely see maybe Oliver Wahlstrom or Kyle Palmieri in a mix on that line. I'm not sure. Maybe Josh Bailey or Brock Nelson, but definitely you'll probably see Barzal get some heavy minutes. Then I expect Barry Trotz to roll all four lines, including their shutdown line of Kazikis, Matt Martin if he's healthy, Cal Clutterbuck. You might see Ross Johnson make an appearance. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a good series. And let's talk about who has the advantage on offense. So if you had to pick the best offense from the team from Pittsburgh to New York, I'm definitely going with with Pittsburgh's lineup. I think they're more of a veteran presence, and I think they actually roll four lines better. I like the Teddy Pluker line. I think they can contend with the Casey Kazikis line down there. It's a really comparable shutdown line. For defense, I definitely give the edge to the Islanders. A slight edge. I know Matheson and Ceci have played well, but I think Adam Pelech is a game changer back there. Dobson's played okay. And then in goaltending, I'm going to give the nod to the Islanders if Varlamov is healthy, which I suspect. I think coaching, it's a great duel, but I think Sullivan has some rings. Trotz has a ring. I'm going to call it even.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a really competitive series.
Absolutely. You got coaches both have won a Stanley Cup. Remember, the number of Stanley Cups doesn't matter. As long if in this case, if you've won one or you haven't won one, both coaches have won a Stanley Cup. Both coaches have coached one of the greatest players, Trotz with Ovechkin, and of course Sullivan has coached Sidney Crosby. and their lineups are a powerhouse lineup. So honestly, you cannot expect anything different, but what a great series would be. I'm going to go with my pick here. Now, this is don't be shocked if I'm wrong. I mean, anything can happen. No way this series is ending in 4 or 5 games. This is a 6 or 7 game series. And that team who's going to win in 6, if somehow they win in 6, expect them in the Eastern Conference Final, because I don't see any way that a team can lose 4 or 5 games like this. Not because one team is extremely good and the other team is not bad, but both teams are even and they're dead center. I mean, the Islanders and Penguins, I mean, they've been back and forth throughout the entire year. So I'm going to give my nod to the stronger team out there that I feel is a stronger team. Look, Islanders have been very good, but they've been a bit inconsistent. Pittsburgh has been consistent throughout the most of the year. I'm giving the nod to Pittsburgh in 7 games.
Good take. I'm going to counterattack that, and I'm going to say the Islanders, and I think the Islanders are going to upset the Pittsburgh Penguins in 6 games. I think it's going to be a competitive series. I think every game is going to be competitive, but I think it's going to depend on who can keep the puck out of the net more. And I definitely think, it's going to be a goaltending duel as well. Varlamov's going to have to play well, but if the Islanders defense can sustain Pittsburgh's offense, the New York Islanders will win this series, and I'm going to go with the New York Islanders in 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, again, guys, you can't say that Cam is wrong here or I'm right here, because this is an unpredictable. But we're going to move on. I'm skipping that Caps Bruins game. We're going to have a long talk about that. Let's move on to the Hurricanes and Predators game. Now look at this. I mean, somehow the Predators sneaked into a playoff spot. All right.
Yep.
I mean, the Predators were absolutely pathetic at the start of the season, but they turned their season around. Dallas was looking phenomenal, and they just completely collapsed, unfortunately. If this was Dallas, I would have a different set of mind here. But actually, we might not need to talk a bit about the Pekka Rinne situation. So I think he has announced his retirement. I do not know if he's playing in the playoffs or not. But again, Juuse Saros,
he'll be backing up Saros. Saros will be the game 1 starter for sure.
So yeah, if Saros is a starter, now this team is actually kind of young. Okay, I mean, like, I don't see a lot of veteran names here. The only ones I can think of are Johansson, Forsberg, Duchesne, and Brad Richardson. And as well, maybe the last guy I can think of, maybe Eric Branson. But this team is very young, okay? And then you look at the Carolina Hurricanes. And I mean, the Hurricanes for the past 2 years, they have emerged as playoff, like, kings. I mean, in 2019, I think they made it all the way to the second round, or maybe I think the Eastern Conference final.
They made it to the 3rd round. Yeah, they got kicked out.
Yeah, and then they lost to Boston in 4. Yeah, but that Boston team was incredible. But I don't know. The Hurricanes are missing their best defenseman, in Jacob Slavin. He's out. Okay, he's day to day, I should say. Brock McGinn is out. Jordan Martinook is out. Cedric Paquette is out. So the lineup is going to change a bit. All right, and I think look, the Hurricanes are the number 1 team in this division. So obviously, there should be no question in my mind. I'm going to pick the Hurricanes here, but I'm going to be slightly careful because every team in the playoffs is good in it, but don't expect it to be a 4 or 5 game series. I'll keep it safe. I'm going to go with 5 games. Let's go with Hurricanes in 5.
Good pick, Jay. And I think Alex Nedeljkovic will be the game 1 starter for Carolina. He's been excellent, especially the last couple months. And I know I'm not sure what Rob Brindamore will do there. Razik's the veteran goalie. Reimer's still there as well, but I think he goes with the hot hand theory, and we'll pick Alex Nedeljkovic to start in net. The injuries are minor. I do believe Jacob Slavin will be ready for game 1. I think it was just a day-to-day precaution injury. If not, he'll be back in the series. I feel like people are sleeping on Nashville. They've been hot recently, and I feel like their team, like, people want to count out, but I think the Predators are a very solid group. But again, I'm going to go with Carolina in 6 games. And it's all, I think, for Nashville, if they're going to win this series, they're going to need their best players to be their best players. And the guys making the big bucks need to make the big bucks. And Jose Saros, he needs to play out of his mind, I think, to win this series.
That's the only guy who's going to save him. I don't think the Predators' offense has been making a lot of money lately. But it's gonna be a decent series. But in my opinion, I think Carolina is absolutely going to whip these guys. I don't see a chance for Nashville to do anything unless they have a miracle on them. Now, don't get me wrong with this game. Now, this is the Panthers and the Lightning. Now, the Stanley Cup champions have not performed as a reigning Stanley Cup champion. Okay, I mean, look, every team for the most part When the Capitals won the President's Trophy in 2017, they won the Stanley Cup next year. The Lightning won it the year before they won the Cup. Now, this year, the Lightning have not been playing so good. I'll be honest with you. Steven Stamkos is still getting hurt every year. Nothing new. Nikita Kucherov, we did not see him I think, at all this year. I think he was hurt. That's a major loss for them. They did get Tyler Johnson back, who's been one of their core pieces for years. I mean, that guy was insane in the past runs for the Stanley Cup. But this Florida
Kucherov
team,
will be back for game one.
Kucherov will be back for game one, but I'm going to make a bold statement here. I don't see him doing anything in this series. I think he might need time to get back on his feet. Now, Kucherov is probably one of the most lethal wingers in the game right now, undoubtedly. But I don't see him doing much right now in this series, excuse me. And so for now, I'm going to play it safe, but I'm telling you that this Florida team is incredible. Jonathan Huberdeau is incredible. Okay, you got other guys out there like Alexander Barkov, who is also incredible. I mean, you got veterans out there like Keith Yandel playing. And I'm not saying Keith Yandel is any good, but again, veteran experience matters the most in playoff games because those are the guys who you count on to win games. I'm going to go with Florida here, but I am going to go in 6 games. I think that, the Lightning, they could pull an upset, but I am just going to go with a safe pick here. I think the Panthers have this, and I think the Panthers will win this series.
Okay. I think this series is meant to go 7 games. The Battle of Florida. We haven't really seen it before. It hasn't been done. My one concern with the Panthers is I think their goaltending. I'm not sure how Bobrovsky will perform. I know Knight's been there. I don't think he'll get a ton of starts. I know Ekblad's out with injuries, but Mackenzie Weegar is the best defenseman in this series.
Yeah.
I know the Lightning have more experience, and they're a really deep team. My heart really wants to say the Florida Panthers will win this series in 7 games.
Yeah.
But I think, man, it's a tough take. It's a tough take. And I think it's going to depend on Florida's goaltending. If Bobrovsky can play well.
I mean, hey, you never forget what happened in 2019. Just never ever forget what happened.
He does have some good history against the Lightning.
That was an amazing series by Bobrovsky against Tampa. So, I mean, it's up to you, Cam.
This series is going to go 7 games, but I think the Lightning's playoff experience is going to propel them to a 7-game series win. I know on my bracket I posted on Instagram, I said Florida, but the video right here, I'm saying Tampa Bay makes it 7 games, an incredible series.
I mean, hey, he'll be right in one way. Okay, now we're going to move a bit to the West now. We're going to go with Vegas and Minnesota. Now, this is going to be a wild series. No, it does not mean I'm picking the Wild. Don't consider that. But, I'm going to be honest with you. It's the matter of who has the more skilled players in this series. Because I think for the Wild, I mean, they've been carried by 3 guys, in my opinion. Kirill Kaprizov, Matt Zuccarello, Joel Eriksson Ek. I think those 3 guys have really been the powerhouse guys of the Minnesota Wild this season. Zuccarello's passing, Kirill Kaprizov's scoring abilities, and Joel Eriksson Ek's defensive game is just absolutely phenomenal. And, I want to say Minnesota, but I mean, Vegas is just, when have they not been so powerful? They are literally always the number 1 team to count on for playoff wins. And, they're incredible in the playoffs. They're literally perfectly built for a team that's only been in the league for 3 seasons now, I think? 3 seasons? Yeah. Or 4 seasons. So. Yeah. 4 seasons. This is the 4th season. Yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. I love watching Kaprizov, but I think next year he's going to have the chance to finally make it past round 1. No hating on the Wild here. I'm not sleeping on them, but I'm going to be more realistic here. I think Mark Stone's Vegas takes the win here, and I will say it is in 7 games.
Good take. Okay, here's my take here. I think Vegas, they have a good experienced team. They're definitely more experienced in the net. Marc-Andre Fleury, I mean, he's won a couple of Stanley Cups. He's had many playoff tenures. Vegas's defense, I know they say defense wins championship. They've got probably, what the heck happened? Are you still there?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Anyways, Vegas's defense is really good with Theodore, Pietrangelo, and Martinez. and they definitely have more experience up front. But I don't know. This Minnesota team definitely has some pieces here that I think could be very good. And I think it's going to depend. Can Cam Talbot continue his hot play? He's been really consistent for Minnesota. I'm going to go with my heart here, and I'm going to say Minnesota Wild takes this series in an upset in 5 games. That's right. You heard it here, folks.
Oh, wow. Cam,
I think it's going to be the upset of the playoffs. I think Vegas will be upset by Minnesota in 5 games.
Again, guys, I'm not going to be shocked if that happens. Kirill the Thrill is on, and I think I'm going to take another bold pick here. I think Kirill Kaprizov is going to possibly win the Conn Smythe if they go far. If they win 2 rounds, in my mind, he's the Conn Smythe winner. Because that guy cannot stop scoring goals. If Minnesota. Yeah. He'll be my contender if Minnesota wins the first 2 rounds. That's it. That's all it'll take. They don't need to make it to the Western Conference Final or whatever conference it'll be called. Just win the first 2 series. I'm telling you, this guy, you'll see him in game 1. You'll see him in game 1 on Sunday or Monday. He's going to be absolutely outstanding. I'm going to move a bit up now. Let's go Edmonton and Winnipeg here. Now, I'll be honest with you. Is this really supposed to be difficult? I mean, you have a guy, when this season had started, people were asking, will Connor McDavid score 100 points in a 56-game season? Now, people thought, he probably will, but they were doing it in a very jokingly manner. They weren't actually being serious. He literally just did it, okay? He literally just scored more than 100 points in 56 games, proving that he is ultimately the king of the NHL.
Yep.
Undoubtedly, when you put a guy who just won the Hart last year with Leon Draisaitl, and, actually good team now for Edmonton that's not led by those 2 guys, Winnipeg is absolutely, they're powerless. I mean, I don't see anything. Winnipeg was good last year. Mark Scheifele was having a good year. Kyle Connor was amazing. But, they lost some tough guys out there like Dustin Byfuglien, which not really is the point here. But the point is that McDavid really had an easy series to win here. Edmonton's going to the second round. This is going to be in 5 games. I'm going with Edmonton.
I like the pick, and I think Mike Smith got hurt, I think, in the last game of the year, and he's been a Vezina candidate for the Edmonton Oilers. So that's I originally had Edmonton sweeping Winnipeg out of the playoffs, but if Mike Smith isn't healthy, it does quite concerning because Koskinen's been really inconsistent. But I still, even if Koskinen's in net, I think I'm going to go Edmonton in 5 as well.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't matter. If Koskinen lets beach balls go through his legs, who cares? McDavid's scoring like every game, so you won't be shocked. McDavid and Draisaitl will save them at some point, no matter who they put in net. All right? Even if they put like Rick DiPietro in net, it doesn't matter who they put in net. They'll be easily fine. Now, there's actually 3 series left, okay? Now, I'm going to go with the third most contending series. Now, earlier today, Ryan O'Reilly, the captain of the St. Louis Blues, he immediately pulls the trigger saying, we're beating the Avalanche, and he guaranteed it, okay? So, there's been a lot of guaranteeing which hasn't worked in the NHL. I remember Alex Ovechkin guaranteeing a Game 7 win of the Rangers. That didn't happen. A lot of the other times it has happened as well. But Ryan O'Reilly's Blues versus Nathan McKinnon's Avalanche, I don't see any way Ryan O'Reilly is smart enough to even like advocate for his point. Now, there's only 2 possible outcomes of this. Either 1, Ryan O'Reilly is a madman and he's out of his mind, or 2, Ryan O'Reilly knows what he's talking about and actually has a solution to beat the Blues. If it is the second one, then I would love to see that happen because I don't like the Avalanche at all. All right, but we got to think realistically here. Avalanche are way more powerful, but this is going to be my upset, all right? This is going to be my upset right here. I'm going with the Blues in 6 games.
Okay.
St. Louis in 6.
You heard it here, folks. First, everybody.
Call me crazy.
Yeah, we'll hear the comment section. Call him crazy in the comments. Look at Colorado, really young team, but with some good players, really good players. And Blues do have some experience. O'Reilly, Tarasenko. Their defense has been shaky this year, but they're still solid. Binnington's won a cup. But I'm going with Colorado in 6. I think they're too good, and I think the Blues are a little too inconsistent. So Colorado in 6, and I'd be shocked to see St. Louis win the series, but also at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked.
So now this is the most hated team in the NHL versus the most probably one of the most underrated teams in the NHL. The Toronto Maple Leafs and Montreal Canadiens. Now, if you think about it, this is going to be either the most impressive win, a win that'll start riots, or the most hilarious loss for the Maple Leafs. There are only two ways this can happen. And I am going to troll Maple Leafs fans right now by letting them know that you guys have not won a cup since 67, okay? If you do not win a cup now, then you will become the longest team to never have won a cup and have the longest drought in Stanley Cup history. Currently, my Rangers are holding that since they did not win a cup since World War II, and then they won one in 94. But that period was much longer than it is right now. So, I'll be honest with you. I mean, that free agency you guys had was incredible, okay? You got TJ Brody, you got Wayne Simmons, you got Jimmy Vesey, you got so many good guys, Joe Thornton out there. If you can't win it now, you're never winning it. And you got probably the best general manager in the NHL in Dubas right now. Kyle Dubas is an absolute genius, true guy. And Sheldon Keefe, Jack Adams Award winner, nominee, excuse me. So, I don't know. Like, Austin Matthews every year has been frustrated out of his mind that he cannot seem to win game sevens at all. All right. And he's the guy carrying this team. Mitch Marner is now going to be feeling the same thing in 2 years. I'm sure he will, that this frustration they're having. And I'll be honest with you, it pains me to say this. I hate saying it. It's the year the Toronto Maple Leafs are finally making the second round. We got to go with it. I mean, it's paining me to say this. All right, I feel like throwing up right now, but Maple Leafs in 6 games. All right, but I really want the Canadiens to win, and I want Cole Caulfield to absolutely destroy the Maple Leafs defense. But we got to be realistic here. I'm going with the Maple Leafs in 6 games.
Yeah, I'd love the Toronto fans and say another game 7 loss. But I mean, if there's any year for them to make it out of the first round, the Boston Bruins you're not in your way anymore. Don't worry, you're not in that. You don't have to play them in the first round. Carey
they
Price
won't play each other in the finals, actually.
That could definitely be a possibility. And I'd love to say Montreal in 7 or Montreal sweeping Toronto, but I'm gonna say Toronto I think Toronto takes this in 7 games.
Oh wow, yeah.
I'm thinking it's gonna be a long series. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a long series. It's gonna be a good series, but Toronto will take this in 7 games.
Yeah, definitely. It's a good pick. And Cam comes down to our last matchup now. The Washington Capitals versus the Boston Bruins. And I'll explain this to you right now. This series will make me cry. Okay? No matter who wins this, it's going to make me cry. Because either I get to see the most dirtiest player in the NHL move on to the next round, or I get to see Henrik Lundqvist's cup dream get shattered. So I am in a lose-lose situation. This is the only. I mean, I'm rooting for the Capitals, but I don't think they're going to win. Boston is incredible. The only reason I'm rooting for the Capitals, as you guys probably know, is because of Henrik Lundqvist. But I'll be honest with you, Boston's first line is much better than Washington's first line. Ovechkin, Carlson, and probably Oshie will put on line 1 against the classic Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak line 1. I think that the Capitals are so cocky right now. Basically, they had an absolute end of the season that was like no other after Artemi Panarin's thing, and then they had that whole fight against the Rangers, and then now their season's over. But if I'm going to be realistic here, Boston has probably been the most powerful team in the entire East. I think they're better than Pittsburgh, and they're better than the Islanders both. And they have proven to be. They've won games in the most crucial times. They're the best team in under pressure. I am going to go with the Bruins in 5 games.
Okay. Interesting pick. Now, I saw the COVID list today. It got released. Samsonov and Kuznetsov have been placed on the COVID protocol list. Not sure how long they'll be on there. Not sure if they have COVID or been exposed to somebody who has COVID. Kuznetsov's a top 6 player. Samsonov probably would be their starting goaltender, I imagine.
Kuznetsov's been out for actually a while now, almost like 2-3 weeks at this point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Well, one of them got added today then. So that's an interesting situation for the Capitals. And let's face it, Boston. I mean, their top six is absolutely deadly.
Yeah.
Charlie Coyle should be returning to the lineup. He's a game time decision for tomorrow. You know how Jake DeBrusk is in playoff time. He's and then I think Boston's starting to get players back, and I mean I think I'm going to go with I'll be biased, whatever. I'd love to say Boston beat Washington, but I think the Boston Bruins will take this, and I think this will be a 6-game series, and I think Boston will take this in 6.
I think they play tomorrow, right?
Yep, tomorrow 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Are you gonna be watching it? Of course.
Yeah, I'm going out to watch that game, so I won't miss that one.
I wish I could be watching the playoffs, but no, my team sucks, so it's okay. Anyways,
next year, bud.
It's all right. I hope we'll be good next year. But guys, that's it for round one. Hope my picks are right, and let's see if Cam's picks are right as well. So long for round one of the Stanley Cup playoffs. You've been watching the Back Check podcast. Everyone have a good night.